I can do better than that. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we? Well, that's more like it. We are in a celebratory mood here this evening, and we're going to celebrate like it's 2005. Such a special occasion here this evening, folks. Of course, we had a wonderful weekend, a wonderful day so far here today with the pitch in Kilcommon, and we have a lot of tired bodies, I believe. And one thing is for sure, we know that every single man that touched the field today can 100% do a full 7 minutes. But all joking and cotton aside, for one more time here this evening, give a huge round of applause as we recognise and remember and look back at the team of 2005. Before I go any further, I just want to say best wishes to Brendan Moran. Brendan is just currently in Mayo University Hospital, and wish him the very best of luck. He has an injury today in the match, and wish him the best of luck at the moment. I know Brendan put a lot of work into this evening, along with the rest of the committee as well. We'll hear more about the lads a little later on in the evening, but he put a lot of work in this evening. So we're thinking of Brendan and wish him the best of luck. So give him a huge round of applause. So how the night's going to roll, we have a number of people to speak with. Very shortly, I'll call on 2 club stalwarts. Then I will have the management team join me, and then I will have a few of the players. Some great tales and stories from the year, and indeed the years before 2005 as well. What went on behind the scenes, what went on the field, and all the crack and everything that goes with that. And also a few pointers as well, a few names here. And you're here this evening, I see you looking down there, and you're looking very relaxed and cool, and you think they're not going to spring the mic on you, but I will be. I'll be calling you. You'll be coming up, whether you like it or not. I have a few one-pointers here as well, a few people. And nicknames as well. Let's actually, before you start and bring on our first few guests, give a big roar for some of these nicknames that you might remember from that team in 2005. Who is Jill? Who is Big Shorts? Who is Mr. Glass? This man has 2 names. Sometimes you might call him the Magpie, or sometimes you might call him Hamstring. We all know who the machine is. Suits. One of the most famous names in male football. The Gooch. Flange. Or finally known as Patting as well. This man had a couple of nicknames as well. He was called Hatchet Man Tony, or Yellow Card Dean. There was no black cards back then. Goal Machine Gareth. How about Rob Earnshaw? And I believe we have a battering ram in the house. And the final one for now, there was a man who was in defence and they called him Killer. So who was Killer? I see him earlier. We get that out of it later on. But ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the evening. It's going to be cracks, it's going to be fun, it's going to be banter. As I said, I have those lads to talk to very shortly. Then we're going to have a raffle, some great prizes, some wonderful prizes. And well done again to the team and the committee for getting those, the 2005 committee for getting those wonderful prizes. And after that, we're going to auction a very special jersey you see here as well. We'll have that to auction. And then we have great music coming up tonight with Mary Kate Goldman. So it's all happening here tonight in the Angler's dress as we commemorate and remember the team of 2005. To get the ball rolling, please put your hands together for 2 club stalwarts, Philip Irwin and JP Murphy. No panic now, lads, you're okay. I'm not going to hurry. Hi guys, come house. Okay, we're going to Philip and JP in just a few moments. So what we're doing is we start off with the management team. So we come to Philip and JP in just a few moments' time. So we begin this evening with the management team from 2005. Now one man has just gone back to Castlebar. It's great to meet up with him a little earlier here this evening. I met him in the hall as well as he had his dinner, and that was Jarlath Cunningham. Let's give Jarlath a huge round of applause. That's one team. He's a wonderful record. Does fantastic work with Kilcommon, a huge part of that team from 2005. But let's call on the management team now. Put your hands together for John Maloney, Kieran Moore, and Pat Healy. Now, please tell me they're not going home. John is here now. Well, John, I get to take a seat, lads. Here are 3 chairs at your feet. Let's take the pressure off your feet, lads. We get you sitting down there. You can hold that mic, John, first. Start off. So here beside me, I have the 3 managers. There are 3 men involved in the management team. I mentioned Jarlath Cunningham, of course, not here at the moment. But John, I start from left to right. Yourself, first of all. When you think back to that year, 2005, it's certainly something that's gone down in the history books. The first ever county title for Kilcommon adult junior level. It must have been an incredible year and an incredible feeling when it all happened and it all unfolded that day in McHale Park.
Yeah, absolutely. I know some of the current teams mightn't like it, but this was my favourite team of all the Kilcommon teams. I'm not just saying it, 3 drinks now.
Heineken Zero, he said.
Kilcommon had been knocking on the door during the 80s. They probably had better teams in the 80s. What the team was set up in 78, and we were in a county final in 4 years. In 82, we were in a county final. We lost it, but it took another 27 years to get back to a county final. Even though in the 80s we had absolutely brilliant teams, Michael Moore and Kieran Moore and the rafters, you could go through them, absolutely brilliant teams that should have won a county, but they just couldn't get over the line. But this team, this 2005 team, weren't driven, and they just.
But what changed, John? You know, they were knocking on the door for a few years. In 2005, what made it different?
Yeah, you're just committed and Eamon Sweeney's, back at Eamon Sweeney's and down in Rinroe. You know, it just didn't happen. Like the lads put the work in, and just a special group of lads. Yeah, but 7 packs came in. You know, we got involved, but it was all there. The man beside me there, Kieran had taken them lads from underage from national school, and we got lucky. We just sat in on just making some brilliant team. Yeah.
I have to ask you, I think some of the lads here will get a giggle out of this one as well, but the famous story of these medals that you had, and you used to produce them quite a bit to the players as well. You said there were runners-up county medals, and you'd stand them, you'd throw them out before you onto the floor, and you'd say, these are the runner-up county medals. But what were their job exactly? Tell me what they were.
There's rumours it was a dancing medal, but no, anybody that knows me knows it wasn't a dancing medal. It was a loser's county medal. It did the job. In all fairness, it did the job, yeah.
Yeah, I heard it from the fetish. We'll move on to Pat. I'll come back to you in a moment, John. Pat, your own memories, of course, heavily involved, one of the founding members of the club. 2005 must have been a very special year and one that you always look back fondly on.
Well, I suppose I'd have to agree with John about that Wednesday, but going back after forming the club in 78, they had a meeting over, and I just go through that fast. and we had some great players there, and they, you know, they had no pitch to train on nothing. And the likes of, and they were county standard after war with the senior club where I go, and they go with somebody now. The likes of Michael Boyle and Billy Boyle and Pat O'Boyle, Jack Knockin, then we called, then the other ones, they were outstanding. Kieran Moore and Michael. Kieran, I've seen Kieran marking Anthony Beardsley every single match, and not one ball would he give Anthony Beardsley. And Beardsley's going to win his case being an outstanding, not a nice fella. But Kieran here beside me, not give him one ball. And it was fair, not like myself a lot more. It wasn't hanging out for us. Playing as the game went. Outstanding players. It was a shame. And Michael Moore, that he scored 18 points one in Ballycastle. And I know the same thing. You lost by a point. You lost by a point after some 18 points. So they were outstanding fellas. But maybe, you know, we haven't maybe the same facilities and the boys as John said, another team was unbelievable. But I think John touched on there, those some great players. I mean, up there on James McAndrew, James Allen, Brendan Moore, they were county standards. I mean, I seen James, I think, about just there with the young 21s at centre back, and I have to be down close to Lee, John O'Mahon, and Billy Joyce, and he's there from Galway too. And they were asking about this fella. I think that if I'm right now, my memory is because I've signed with them only. I think the only man was going to maybe I'm wrong. All right, James. And I put them up. They were the disgrace. They didn't look for a job for him, get him work. That fella was county standard, outstanding. But we got no backup from the GA headquarters of the county board anywhere. So there was some great players. But I think, but the last thing that I think, they were all great players. I met him over there, I think the man that put the final touches that thing was Jarlath Cunningham. And we had some good trainers there. Jarlath, I met him, Jarlath. And I went down for a long time when I was in Croke Park in 87, that's long, so 67, watching me video. One of the best trainers that I ever come across. Common sense. As he was saying to me, fellas will run the pitch doing 6 laps and the first 2 fellas winning every day. He said, I wouldn't make me pick them on the team. The first thing I wouldn't go on to, but he was outstanding and very common sense. So that was the final touch to where the boys done the work to join the boys. I was only there as usual shouting on the sidelines, and I haven't changed one since.
Kieran, your own memories, of course, involved, as the lad said, you know, for a long number of years as well. That breakthrough year, 2005, like, it's you know, look back at it now. I mean, Pat had mentioned the names there, like top class players, they were county standard, and when everything clicked and it gelled, it was a wonderful season, it was a wonderful victory that day in McGill Park.
It was brilliant. But you know, we had hiccups. Some would say we lost the semi-final in 2004, and we did have a bit of chat about it, and maybe we thought that fellas weren't given 100%. Another game called soccer was out at the time.
Yeah. Can I touch on that, Kieran, actually? I have it down here with you. The meeting, I believe, in Johnny McAndrew in Park Ball with the United lads for the start of the year to agree to get commitment. He said Gaelic first because soccer was big in the parish at the time.
Well, our problem was that if you were in the semi-final or quarter final, that you needed 2 weeks break before the match. You couldn't play a soccer match the week before the match. That's what we were looking for anyone to stop. Okay, the misunderstanding. What? That we'd have lads fresh, no injuries or hidden injuries on the day, because they wouldn't get too long if we had them. You know? And that 2004 loss to us put us in our place. And maybe what stuck to us, I go back to 2003, we had one under 21 taken, which maybe had not talked about, but it was very big for the club here. They beat a challenge it was senior club. And what happened was, I looked to the Sharks turned out to go in the league because they were in the scene. And in the up anyway, whoever got the message never did anything. So we ended up in the scene. And we met Carlos Town in Ballina, I think it was a right good match, and we beat them by 4 points. Which was probably was a match, you know. Yeah. You
I can ask you, Kieran, as well. I believe the county board put on an important match the week before championship against Ballyhonus. Does that ring a bell?
Between ourselves and Ballyhonus to up the league, and we didn't want to leave anything behind us. They were told from the county board to usually we have to do what we told down here anyway. We have 2 weeks break. We're delighted with the injuries coming in, and we were told this game had to be played, and not about that part. I always remember it. We went out and made a better first half. We were 9 points down at half time, and the man called Darren Prentice said to me, he said, Kieran, your mind is on next Sunday. I didn't answer him. Because very good. But we got to the dressing room and we came and we turned that game around and won by 5 points. I didn't meet no John Bentley after the match.
I can ask you about that. The Pete McDonald Cup, the championship winning the junior, I believe was brought into the dressing room for the first round against Lacken. Remember that? Can you answer that question for me? John, you're on your head there.
Yeah, I organised that. Yeah, Brendan Moran picked it up. I stood up year before or something. Yeah.
What was the thinking behind that, John?
No, it was just a signal. Yeah, it was in our dressing room after the game. Yeah.
Where does that type of, I suppose, drive come from, and those type of ideas? You know, you're thinking. Where does that come from, John?
Yeah. You know, these are the things that make the difference, I suppose. Yeah.
That year.
Just going back to this 2005 team as well, you know, we probably left an Ireland behind us that year as well. We got beaten in June, and as a management team, we did lots wrong that day. I don't know, going down the road, that's all I can put 5 or 6 points up. And we just collapsed. I know we had John Darby's in here tonight. I apologise to him. We left him on the sideline, and John he was a serious footballer. And we had lads running on the gas, and we didn't make the changes we thought we were there, but we weren't there. But maybe it was basically a hurling team. They went on to win the All-Ireland semi-final, and I think that's the final. They didn't lose the final by much, and we were 10 points back at the final. And that's a big regret. I swear that 2005 team were that good. Yeah.
Record-wise, I want to touch on this year. Played 47 games that year, played in 7 finals, won 5, and got promoted to Division 2. It was some achievement. What do you want to come on that, Pat?
It was some achievement, you know, we have the cup still to prove with it, and the 2 we lost, like, you know, one of them definitely was should have won it. The other one got his chances, you know, you're not going to win everything, but I always say the day you lose, you have to learn something. It's good.
Finally, I want to ask each of you this question now as well. So I'll start off with you, Kieran, you have the mic in your hand and work the way back. When you reflect on that year and indeed all your time involved with Kilcommon, what stands out as your proudest moment, and the moment you look back and you think, that was a brilliant day, that was a brilliant moment. For you, what is it exactly?
Just a couple of things. I'm going to mention a couple of things that I didn't say earlier on is that these county titles we have won here, we have to put a lot of hands to committees behind the club here on doing a new pitch, and there's a lot of work done behind the scenes, and the new pitch probably is what we missed down the years that we didn't get there, or because when you have the pitch and the facilities, people will come and it attracts people, and it just got better. And I just get that out of it. I've had to see this early on, and I'm not going to mention names, but it is someone else. But the committee, I know there are people that worked hard to get them pictures there and dressing room and supporters and people that paid money.
Yeah, absolutely. But you're proud of, yeah, can you hear me close that? And your proudest moment here?
Proudest moment in 2005, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I suppose with that twisted wind in Castle and you know, we finally headed there, you know, and you know, it takes a couple of seconds and a few things that go in. I think we got most of our scores that we scored 316 and that one came from play. I'd say most of them came from play. You know, when people talk about great scores from play, I think we got, I'm not sure that we didn't get more, we got most of them.
Fantastic. Which one here? Give me a huge round of applause.
Well, I think we started keeping here in the early part of the game. Most importantly, as John said, that he went back to Joe's house. That was a turning point, so that nobody's standing out. And the honesty, and he's down there, the most honest player that did came in was Cill Chomáin. He came there and he said, I'm a soccer player, #1. But if you're ever stuck, and really stuck, I won't let you down. We're down in Castleknock, and anyone know we're down in Cork, and we're in the final, and John Looney rang that night, and that man drove all the way down to Cork to be the final. So that's what you call dedication. Every day I love football, it's proudest day of my life, but I'm in general now, I give out the team. My proudest day was that I was to go back and scout the program and seeing Gabriel Everett playing in my club. That was my proudest day, my member. So,
Yourself, John, your proudest moments?
No, I'm going to go away from that a bit. You know, it's the lads, as alluded to there about Gareth and Andy. The friendships we made that time. You know, the lads, whenever they come to London or wherever they come, they would text, we'd meet up, and basically friendships. I mean, maybe that's what football is all about.
Fantastic. Give me a huge round of applause. And I believe as well, when it came to the time of picking the team, it was the most civil agreement these three men always had in picking their teams as well. It's wonderful to see how civil they are here this evening as well. It's a huge round of applause. Here we go, Patrick and Domino. Now, my men back there. So next, put your hands together for two stalwarts of the club, Philip Rowan and JP Murphy. That's a good shoulder, Philip, JP. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Give a huge round of applause once again here for tuning in to our left. JP, we'll touch on, I suppose, prior to 2005, a little bit of history of the club and how it was back in the early days.
Well, I'll tell you how it happened. In 1978, there was myself and Philip here and two big players gone, Dean and Brenda Baloney. We're out the bar in United. Two lads here were playing for the class in Dunmore. So we do a count of players around in Glenmire Road. We've about 16 or 16 good footballers now. With the 5 or 6 team and any team. But we said we talked about setting up our own club here in Glenmire. And Pat Healy was behind the bar at the time, hitting some points, but we met again about a week afterwards. It was in the sunlight, and it went from there. So we had called a meeting in my community centre, and we formed a club called Glenamore. We didn't think it'd last. We said, a bit of fun, you know. But it went from there to where it is today. And I remember we started training over the Limay Community Centre at night. We run what we call over back the Metron Road, around Limay Bridge, and over Community Centre again. And some wouldn't have to be boats to be on, there wouldn't be runners or anything like that. And I remember myself, there'd be about 7 or 8 ahead of us. We'd be maybe running up behind them. There'd be 5 or 6 behind us again. Before we got to communities, the boys behind us were ahead of us. So you know how they got there. So that's how it started off, and just come from there now.
And when you see what is there today in terms of the facilities as well, and you know, you often hear that thing, you know, build it and they will come. And I mean, over the last number of years, you know, 3 county titles now, success has certainly been given to the club.
Well, 3 county titles, I would say the 25 team, most of them 2, because they were there in 2013 as well. And this team here now, they won the county title last year, but they have also won the Ireland county title. So that's I don't know what I'm going to do with them, but they're up there now. They're up there with the 25 team.
You must be looking for points for the younger lads. Thank you, JP, for being Philip. Philip, we continue along both what JP was saying, and you know, to look back at times before 2005, before that, you know, first county title win. A lot of work, as I say, it all happened. As I say, sometimes good decisions and good deals are made over a pint, and that's how it all began.
Yeah, exactly, that's for sure. I do remember back to 82, I suppose you all know exactly. 1982, we got to the final, and we were beaten by 4 points to no score. An unusual score, I have to say it. And I'll be honest about it, I wasn't playing myself that day. I should have been playing, but Liddy Cleary was in charge of the team. I broke my finger the week before, and he didn't play me, and I still maintain if he played me, I would have scored. But unfortunately, it didn't happen.
It's great. And they say time is a great healer. It's great to know more brothers, Philip.
First of all, I have to play for them. They done very well. There was a lot of pressure on them. People can say what they like, but after us losing, the pressure was on them, in fairness, to win a county title. And fair play to them, I have to say, they did put out the shots. And I have to mention Jarvis Cunningham again, because he was outstanding that time. He was outstanding because he was ahead of the posse at that time. You know what I mean? He was, in fairness, you know. And
of course, on the back across the line, what he achieved it then.
Yeah, exactly, and that's for sure. It was outstanding. But that's the way it goes. I'd also like to thank Pat Healy for giving us the pitch for the length of time he gave us. I tell you one thing, not too many teams better than home shot of playing. And I have to congratulate him for that. You know, really, well done, Pat.
Fantastic.
I know I'm switching from post to pillar, so I am, but no harm. We have a nice team there now at the moment. But again, if they wait with the help of God, we'll be all here. Hopefully, we'll be all here celebrating after beating the Neil. So all going well. But I have to say, well done to the young lads. There's a bit of pressure on them, but sure no harm. They like pressure anyway, so they do. And Nigel loves pressure, so he do. And so does Sean. So I wish them luck on Sunday, and it's important to win on Sunday because you know when you're home games, you're in trouble then after that. On the shot. More pressure. Yes, more pressure is right. I suppose I'd like to mention one thing in particular now, to be honest, the building we have over here. That's one thing that we are really proud of. And I have to say, it was a lot of hard nights and hard days. We travelled, a lot of people don't know. We travelled down to Pat's Bananas Tea in Kerry. A lot of people don't know that. To see the facilities they had over there. That's before ever we had anything over here. Like that was, we went ahead in the past, we were down there to see what they had down there. We didn't meet Pat's Bananas today, but we were down there anyway. To see the facilities they had. And that was very, very important because that's what it's all about, the club. You know what I mean? The club is, it's, everyone isn't, there'll be one man good at one and another man good at another. And I have to thank the ladies too. I didn't be giving out to them, but no harm, we didn't be giving out to them. No, in fairness, but I couldn't go without mentioning, there's two in particular. And I know Nigel won't be happy to say this, but two men I have to thank in particular for the money we got over here was Jerry Coyle and Mike Killoran. I have to mention them because I'll be honest about it, I would be telling a lie otherwise. We got €1 million over there for that club. And before Mike Killoran was there, we wouldn't even have got half that. But fair play to them, they were there. They came out. I know I'm political and that everybody knows that anyway. You all know that now.
If you don't know what's happening, you look at the mic. Green light for the Green Party.
I hope you don't see them here. We had enough of them in the last one. But that is a fact, you know what I mean? Because, that's what the club is all about. I'll be honest about it. I have no problem. As you all know, we all work for 3 or 4 girls the same way, so we do. So there's, it all works together. But what it is about is to be able to get on with everyone if you can at all. That is the important thing that I see anyway. Yeah?
Absolutely. Now, the final question was asked each, like I asked my last 3 as well. Your proudest moment from being part of the club, when you think back. So, to yourself and NGP.
Well, I suppose, to be honest, the building that's over there has to be out of this. Be honest,
Fantastic, and it certainly is one of the finest facilities right across the land. JP?
Well, we had a few proud moments. And the first one was in 2000 for we opened our own pitch beyond. As Philip said before, Pat Healy, Ballycry, Kilfine, and even Loppin as far as Lahagan. We had no pitches, so we put some posted pillar. We changed the name from Glenamoy back to Kilcommon, and it was only right. I think the club took off really from that on. My proudest moments was, we had a few of them, I say, that was one of them up on that pitch. Winning the 3 county titles, and winning the All-Ireland and Croke Park. But I suppose your first county title, you'll have to be proud of. So,
2005, that's where we are here tonight. Give a huge round of applause. Yeah, we nearly went from the Sunday game to the Tonight Show there. We're going to sport and politics. Next up. I want to call on 4 players now here to sit beside me. 1 man will have to stand. We have a late sub, I believe, because of course we're sprinting in the best of luck and hope all's going well for him. Put your hands together for Pat McAndrew, David Quile, Brendan McGrath, and Terence Moore. Oh, I like that, Brendan. You go for the stew, the birds go in. Now, Pat. First question we have for Pat. Well, you know, Alan Cully, you're going to be a light reader. My first question for Pat is, where does Blanche come out of?
That I don't know. Well, that's the last day, I don't want to say too loud. We skip that part.
We young people here.
We do.
Pat, talk to me first about yourself and getting involved in football. Where it all started for you?
Well, with the club, and I have to say it was Kieran Moore. He came back to our school in Limmer, and he spoke to our players that were playing at the time and asked us would we be interested in playing for the club. And out through the years, I wouldn't be playing with the club. Kieran Morgan with his great time out to Corona, popping over to Park Vaughan, over to Gabra, over to Gapmere, over to Kilged, collecting all the young players because at that time getting to matches wasn't too easy and organising, there was no phones, there was no, oh, we'll meet you here, we'll meet you there. Kieran Morgan was seen outside Park Vaughan, gear was ready, gone, and away we went. So Kieran Morgan had a big influence for me personally anyways, playing football and continuing playing Kilcommon over the years from all ages.
What was different about 2005, Pat? What stuck out in your mind? Like, that was the year that went on to great things. What was about 2005 that changed?
Well, I was speaking to John Maloney earlier, and we were not discussing that particular aspect, but no one ever said out loud to me that if you do this, you will win a county title. And that's what John Maloney, Pat Healy, and Kieran Moran, when they came to Park Vaughan, discussed with us, and they said, you follow us, you do this particular thing, we'll get you a county title. And we bought into that, and I can only speak from the younger players at that time that we were, geez, we could hear these words ever spoken out loud in by Benamai or Kilcommon anyway, that if you follow us and you do commit to what we're thinking, you got a county medal. From that moment on, the belief was there from training sessions to I suppose games. Any game I went into that year, I believed we would win regardless of who we were playing. Be it a senior team, that's B team, or I believe every match going on, probably in business.
Juicy moments now. I've asked my last guest for the proudest moments, but I think Regina has now. I want to think of some juicy moments, some golden stories, because you're all great characters individually, you all gel so well together. You used to enjoy bonding sessions and you used to have great crack together. What sticks out in your mind when you think back on one of the funniest moments or something that you know, was if you drive in the car and then you pull inside the road and thinking, Jesus, that was someday.
Well, the last year were fewer stories, but what I found amazing, and it's been spoken so many times, is Charlotte Cunningham. And I remember John Maloney bringing a chair out onto the field in St. Gerald's College, and I said, where is this man going with the chair? And he planted it out to the middle of the field anyways, and he didn't say anything to any of us. And next thing, he stood up on the chair with the ball in his hand, and he said, run as fast as you can and try and catch that ball. So I see John Maloney going out like unorthodox training times to win the game. And I, to be honest with you, had him very low, but I was thumping anyway. but other than that, it wasn't too bad. But it's the thinking that year was different. Like as I said, I went from the 12 to the 21, we won the county, and it was the way of thinking that year was totally different, and everyone bought into it. Amazing year.
And that moment lifting that Pete McDonald Cup, something special.
Oh, amazing! Like Brendan Moran, our captain. I was vice captain, but I was the quietest vice captain because I got to Brendan Moran from day one to the day we left the county. Amazing captain. He showed in the way he played more than the way he spoke. Like he was our leader, and you can still see it to today. And last year's team, and 2013, he always stood out and still stands out to this day.
Thanks very much, Pat McAndrew. David, talk about your own story, your own introduction into football and where it all began for you.
Maybe a couple of years, maybe prior to the Fatty, aka Flange, and friends coming on the scene. I suppose myself and Soups, Coyle would be the same vintage, same age, and probably adult football for us in Kilcommon, or Glenwise it was at the time, was probably 1994, 1995. So you can make up the sums, we were 14, 15 years of age. And John Maloney, I remember came back to the UK. We were meeting him for the first night at a dinner dance which was normally held in the Dolphin in Crossmolina. And yeah, I'm taking over the junior team. You'll be playing with us next year. Was it John in 14? No, so it was just an indication of numbers were so tight. Like playing matches, dragging lads out of bed on a Sunday morning, struggling to make it 15. I mean, the club went through in the mid to late 90s to keep the show on the road, and obviously, if that didn't happen, who knows, would we have got the 2005, 2013 and 2024 successes that came along, as far as County Tigers are concerned. So those initial memories for me would be very big. The likes your John O'Boyle's, believe it or not, I crossed paths with Miguel Moore before his career. Banana would have played with him as well, and yeah, I think John Maloney coming back from the UK kind of gave us a fresh impetus again to keep the show on the road. But again, I'd have to concur with what Pat said. The life and soul of it all for me, growing up, young players, board and all, the whole lot, was Kieran Moore. Like, I mean, I'm in Galway now, and I come down, and anytime I come down here, and I'm so appreciative of it. I'm so welcome to have it. And I mean, I see the same faces all the time. Kieran, Philip Harman, JP Murphy, Pat Healy, John Maloney in his home. I'm going to be lucky without Michael Moore. I mean, they were there when we were 18, 12 years of age, and they're still there. So, like, you're on about bedrocks of clubs. There'd be no club only for them. You know, behind every good man is a good woman. Teresa Moore, Eileen Irwin, Claire Murphy, the likes of these. It's the same through all the time describing it. And I think every bit of success has come to club, both on and off the pitch. Their fingerprints are all over.
Absolutely. Yeah. Can I ask you a few things here in front of me? You always trained on a Sunday morning after a league game, Saturday evening. I believe everyone was there, drunk or not, but it kept the squad together.
Yeah, that's
was
right.
There a few mornings where there was a queer whiff of Red Bull?
There was a couple of rides. I remember one year in particular, even Balmuller said a fairly ungodly hour, and Noel Brett was involved just at the management at that time, and I think myself and James McAndrew, one or two more, and Noel collects us outside the square in Balmuller at 6:45 in the squad car. He said, you better be effing training in 2 hours' time. And 9 o'clock in the morning we were training. So and I think that was, I think 2005 especially, we drove that no matter what was happening, a lot of our games, our league matches happened to be on Saturday evenings. And look, we played hard, we worked hard as well. But yeah, there was no one letting each other down on a Sunday morning, no matter what shape you were in, you were there. And I think that brings the bond within the squad as well. But like, people think 2005 came from nowhere. Like, I mean, it was that same group of players all the way up, maybe Brendan, you were a couple of years older than us, but we were going from 99 to 2001, that young group of players. The Kieran said was hard to win another 21 county championship in 2003, and we were getting bullied, and we were getting some harsh lessons on the pitch. And slowly but surely, between 02, 03, 04, the tide started turning, and we were beginning to dish out what was been given to us in the years previous. And I think just that's what made 05 all the sweeter, because it wasn't a flash in the pan, it was coming. But I tell you, we had to do it the hard way. And we did it in the years previous to it.
And the hard work going. Before that you go, there's a quote I have here with your name associated to it. David Coyle, after Trevor scored a sideline against Ballyhonus the week before the county final. Do you remember what you said? You said, come on lads, if Trevor can do it, anyone can do it. Don't worry, I get you up,
somewhere. No, in fairness, I think it was about 70 yards outside, was it? Outside the boat. Yeah, I don't think you can add up more than that.
Absolutely. I mean, think back, Sam, if I hear some wonderful moments, but going up on the steps there, as Pat said, Brendan lifting the cup and you all following suit, that was special.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I remember more about this in the county semi-final in '04. It was in the round of the game was played. And we were playing catch-up all the game. We nearly caught them at the end, we lost by a point. But I remember thinking, when we were lifting the cup and holding, do you know what? We fucking deserved this. We were the best team in the county at junior level that year, hands down, and we proved it with the performance we put in the final. And what pleased me most, I suppose, about it was there was another couple of cups in North Mayo that year. And in fairness, I have to find, Kieran was there in the whole, and I think who really drove us to finish the year on a high was John Maloney, because I suppose years ago the North Mayo championship was huge when it was divisional, so you had to win your North Mayo and then go on to a county. I think it was '04 was the first time we went to all county. We mightn't appreciate that as much, but that last game, I think it was a Sunday before Christmas, we finished up in '05, believe it or not, over in Lacken, a rotten, dirty day. And Killala were hellbound and spoiling the party, and we won that game. And for me, in conjunction with the county final, that was as big as anything. We finished the year on a high with a cup that was as important to the club, down through the years. I think Cill at the time were doing it won it 3 times in a row, so it meant an awful lot to us to actually finish the year on such a high as well. But a close group of players, and I mean, the last thing I'd say is that today sums it up. I think 3 players out of that squad couldn't make it today. One of them is in Spain, one of them is in America, and one of them is at a wedding in England. So everybody that could be here is here, and that tells you everything you need to know.
Absolutely. Terence, first of all, before I come to where it all starts, you have to touch on the nicknames, the Magpie or Hamstring you're known as.
I think hamstring is fairly self-explanatory there, but Magpie, I think it was Justin Bradley. For some reason, every time we go to our own training sessions, there'd be footballs there that weren't reading the comment. So, look, when opportunity was there for maybe a ball that was going astray from the opposition, you might have found the boot of the carry.
The club never had as many footballs.
Well, I stayed at the club one, you have to be honest.
Terence, tell us about where it all began for you. Where did football begin and what got you into it?
I know you're having this, it's like a 0-5 that year reunion, but there is a kind of a theme, and it's probably developed already, where it's almost like the Kieran Moore appreciation, he had that impact on all of us. So from every one of us, from very early on, some of us wouldn't have been at the training sessions, we wouldn't have been at the matches if it wasn't for him. I know that everybody is going to touch on the same thing because of the impact that he had personally to whoever you're going to speak to. For me, besides that, I don't think it was 04, 03. An impact that was for me personally was we got put out of the championship, and you guys remember when Billy Castle put us out. And Paddy Moran and Michael Moran, who had nothing to do with the management team, came into that dressing room afterwards. And the F's that we got, and what we were told, I just remember, not winning a county title is, at some stage, is not an option. Because we were told in no uncertain terms what had just happened there, that Ballycastle had put us out. And for me, as a young player coming in that time, I thought, I have to put the hammer down here one of these years and I'll see if we can make it.
And what was that turning point for you? What do you think was that?
I think it was because we're all the same age that we all sort of matured at the same time. So, yeah, maybe speak for myself, but there was, I think it was a combination of, it was such a group that was the same age, rather than it being spread out. And I think that maturity probably began to tell as we got into our early 20s. I think most of the team was right in the mid-20s there. So, you're getting to the stage then, if it doesn't happen soon, it might never happen, and that puts you under a bit of pressure, so I think they're going to survive.
For you, Terence, you scored 10 points in the quarter-final. What happened in the semi-final?
I actually can't remember. I think I was on the beach somewhere. I think I was like
You went on holiday, sir. Put down there, I say, huh?
I wasn't supposed to be. How do you have this information? I wasn't supposed to be here.
It's been 3 years to enjoy this course.
Yes.
Continue on, Terence.
I looked at it, I can't even remember. Yeah, I was on a holiday that time. I can't remember what the situation was. Honestly, those times, you don't know what dates are what. And those big gaps, and you just go, am I going to book a holiday or not? That's just the way the family. That's something to roll the line for.
And you're back for the final then? What's memories of that day?
Back for the final, to be honest, for my memories of that, I don't know whether anyone else would say it or anything like that, but I kind of we were never going to lose that game. I didn't think there was any club in the county that had a B team that could have beaten us, and it would have been a huge insult to all the work that we put in. That didn't matter what senior club it was, Kissabara or not. There's no one that has a B team that should be beating us if we were trying to go to where we want to go. So it was never a doubt whether we would win or not. Are we going to let ourselves down enough for it to be a really, really competitive game? But for me personally, on that day, I didn't think for a second before the game, on the day, or anything that we would ever last.
And finally, Terence, your funniest moment when you think back, being with that group, being involved with the setup.
To be honest, if I think of funny moments, for some reason, Alan Coyle is always there. I do remember us very early on doing a training session down in Monroe, and we had gone running up and down the banks maybe 25 times. It was probably one of those Sunday mornings where it was like 9:30 or whatever it was. Everybody was struggling for water. I think Damien was there, Damien Ruddy, gasping, going for water, and he picked up water and drank it, which Soups had previously emptied to put salt water into. So, one of those kind of things, like Damien obviously nearly getting sick, all those kind of things because of it. They're the things that you kind of miss, that you kind of remember on days like today we're in the dressing room.
Lovely stuff. Terence Morgan, you drive the applause. And finally, Brendan McGrath. See yourself, Brendan. How are you? I see you nudging the guys there, saying that, speak for yourself. You had a couple of years on these lads, not too much. But take me back to it for you, where it all began.
Yeah, probably actually played for the club up to 2000 or so. I remember playing three, I think, minor, three minor North Mirrors, and then soccer took over for a little while, work took over, travelling long distance, but I suppose it was Kieran got his claws into me at some stage, and John as well, a little bit of pressure, and that's probably enticed me back around 2001. And after that, the group was so, I suppose, bonded, and we made great friends, and nobody wants to let anybody down. So, when I look back at that squad, I'd say 90% of them are traveling, some from overseas at times. So, like, putting that commitment, we had to produce. That was the difference.
It certainly does, because, in terms of the roads weren't as good, it was more difficult in terms of WhatsApp groups, so it didn't exist. All of that in terms of, getting guys together, getting guys there, getting the commitment there. You really wanted to have the heart and the belief and the desire and the buy-in.
A lot of logistics, I think, if I could text everyone and phone everyone, different groups, as you said there, or whatever. And I mean, you're training them. Writing everybody. We went to the training sessions. Just to meet up for a session rather than going all the way to.
What turned it for you? What was that moment, to clinch 2005? They said, a few years prior to it, they were knocking on the door. What changed?
I think the club matured.
players mature very quickly. Different ideas, jars have made a big difference. I think we brought us kind of into the new era of football. You know, it might have been a bit old school prior to that. But once there's been all like there's a difference without the spoken about there and comes down. And you, for some reason, you never doubted that you want to win this. There was never that. We played 47 games.
Yep.
I'd say we lose 5 over the year. So when you put it out, it was just a couple of experiences that we had to about doing things that you never doubted you were going to win. Training was your match every week. Practice 47 games. You're rolling every week, every week. That was the difference. Everyone in the league is being
And that moment then, Brendan, for you to get your hands on that cup, on that Pete McDonald cup, what does it mean to you yourself personally?
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge. It's huge for the club. It's huge for the players. The commitment is massive. Like for a couple of years from there. Coming down here today, as we know, JP and Philip talked about facilities and that. Like, I'm currently registered with one of the best football clubs in the country. Facility-wise, we're much shame. That's the reality.
Fantastic. That's testament to the club. Finally, Brendan, I have to ask you for your juicy moment as well, your funny moment that stands out.
I know. Michael, it's not really good.
That's okay. If you want juicy moments, you're okay. If you want juicy moments, I'm going to call a few guys on the spot. But as you mentioned, of course, winning that county title, the club has gone on to fantastic things since 2013, and of course, just last year.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Very proud. As players, very proud of us. All that comes for us, 90% of them are all traveling back here to play for the club. So that's our generations, and hopefully continue.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Give me a huge round of applause. Once again, guys, Patrick Albert, David Clark, Terrence Warner, Brendan Guys, thank you very much. Right, we're moving on to a wrap-up very short. We're going to have a few people I want to have a quick word with as well. I'm going to call, you can come to me just for a few moments. So, first man, I'm going to see if I can get him here. Yes. So, let me see who the first man I see is. Justin Rooney in the house. Come on, Justin, come here briefly to me. Come on. Ladies and gentlemen, would you believe this man was the first man to score in a county final for Kilcullen? Come on, Justin, talk me through it. That moment, recreate that winning, that scoring point, the opening point. I can remember it now just like yesterday. I know. No, it was a special to on the day because I mean I usually told from management, especially the guys, like stay between the 245s because I need to last the game, because I wasn't the fittest, so and then it just, I suppose like it was on for a few minutes, and I said, I want up here to see what happens, and the early stages, and Brendan McGrath had the assist, the ball once we attacked it over, and I'd like to think it's set for somehow, It certainly did, yeah. I'll tell you another thing, Tuesday told me afterwards, he reckoned there was 102 bookies and they weren't thinking Brendan was having a few quid on it. I mean, big shots, that's the final question for you. Where did that name come from, Justin? Tired one Sunday morning, and I was geotagging that, and I realised I forgot the shorts. And I was going around, I was like, lads, if any of you got to speak very shorts, whatever.
And the miners were training, you know, they were coming and training there, and he was asking them and threw me a pair of shorts and the job against them. I was up the picture there, they were welded to it. And I got the ball in and sure, Trevor was not past me and he just let the shout go, "Hey, big shots!" And it stuck.
It stuck since then. Final one I have here, and report actually about you as well. John Maloney shouting at Lee McHale to warm up, making sure. John Maloney shouting at Lee McHale to warm up, making sure that Justin could hear him after Justin's man won a kick out on him. Did it work?
Well, I'll tell you now, right? You have about, you know, management and all that, right? And like psychology, it's not big in football, right? The last couple of years. I reckon Maloney is a master's. He really has, and you should have a start up the clubhouse because he got into your head, but in a brilliant way. And like there's a lot of lads here as well that they just got the best out here, you know. And just like that, you know, I heard that. I was like, Chris, where's my man? And, you know, and like he just knew how to get the best out here. And sometimes it might have helped you, you know. But the boys know I was, you know. And there were some days there, I remember they playing some match there, and I caught the ball. And I laid it off, and I was like, "Where is he now, Jack?" So I gave it back to him too.
You were ahead of Kieran Donaghy. What's thinking of that, Joe Bryan? Justin, thank you very much.
I was going to mention one thing, Jared, because you know I live in Castamar and I can meet him regularly, and he's just a great fellow, a great guy. Loves his football, absolutely loves the comment, and like he made the journey down here today, and he had stuff on. I know, you know, he didn't say that, and he came down, and you know, he met everyone, all that. But he one thing there, we all met up in Castamar, and another thing as well was a great plan from the management team that there was guys working all over the place. And we said we get together effectively as a team. There was guys working in Dublin, at Lowell and games. We all got together. To me, that was a big part of winning it that year as well, because we were meeting up during the week collectively together and training, you know. And but the first session we had, we went back up to the TF afterwards, and we got a full spread. Super fried chicken and chips. We were like, geez, this county store is looking like after Venezuela. And this was hard anyway for two in the treasure. We began in about a week later, and we were losing. And we weren't at the races at all. And they were getting the top percent. We didn't have time. Got a bit of a bike and, you know, came out and still we tapped over a few scores and we were like, you know. And then we just heard a shout from the sideline. I believe it was Pat Healy. And he said, "There will be no clubby chips the next night, lads." We ended up winning by 4 points. Thank you, applause. Next up, Derek Thorne. Come on, Derek, come here. Man of the match. These guys are buying a huge round of applause. Derek, I believe you're man of the match. You're also man of the match in the 2013 county final and 2024 Comortas Pan the Gaeltacht final. And you've won 3 finals in 3 decades. How about that?
I know. Good.
Your memories of 2005, first of all, as a famous quote one of my uncles would say, you were a young cub. You were a young cub on the scene in 2005. What was it like coming in to play with the older and the more experienced players that year?
Yeah, like it was. I was probably 3 years in there. Parents mentioned something there about that kind of casting game. That was my first championship game. I was playing over here. And the first ball came in, one-on-one, missed it. I didn't touch a ball for the rest of the game. Like, it was a lesson, because obviously you're young, you're underage, you're cleaning up, doing whatever, and you go and play and you think you're going to walk over these guys. And then they beat you. And then they haven't beaten us since. And they say, what he said, coming into a team, you think when you're young, oh sure, who is this fella? He's 30, who's he? Because you don't be down learning like that. And you get the bats around the place. And like I said, it took 2 or 3 years, and like I was only 20 in 2005, but like I had a couple of years there with Tony Dean and Sue that looked after me. They let me play the ball because the treatment in, like you might look at the cameras there. The cameras go where the ball is, the ball is not there. Like it's made all over you. So like it was a good maturity, but most of the team was young.
but like they were a couple of years older than me. They had played a few years younger than me, and they were stronger. And so they always looked after, say me especially. Like they let me play because they looked after me. Like heavyweight like that. And winning, of course, you know, that counts. Like, you look back at all the years, I'm not going to ask you to pick your favourite one of the three. That's like asking someone to pick your favourite of your three children. It wouldn't be fair. But 2013 and 2024, like the first one had to be that bit special, you said. You're new on the scene, and you know the guys are knocking on the door for a while, and all of a sudden, hey presto, the magic happens. Yeah, it was like I had a bad game in the semi-final the year before. We lost on more. I think maybe last week I said we came back dead on. I thought I did right, but the first half I was awful. And like then you get a chance to come in, like it's I don't know, like we were awful good coming in. It's a strange thing here. I don't know the other clubs get it. We were getting to the final. I remember being back here after the semi-final. I don't know how many weeks was between it, and you're getting, even though we won so much at that stage. People are like saying to you, geez, we didn't play well, you're not going well, things are going bad. And you're kind of used to it, you're thinking, geez, are we this way? But I knew the way we were that time. Like the Terrence and the boys said it, we were never losing that fight. It was a strange thing. When you play together with so team, so much, with so many games that year, no one was beating us that day because, like, we might have shied away from it because we didn't win it before. We were the opposite way. We wanted to get to a final. We wanted to get to McHale Park. We knew we were good enough. It was good. We played lovely football. So it's like when we got there, like we were always going to win, and we were always going to win by a lot because we knew that was where we wanted to be, and the club, we felt, deserved to get one. That's it. Because there's a lot of work into it. So we never felt no pressure in the final. There was pressure, but we didn't, because getting there was the pressure was going off us. Once we got there, it was all wrong. Finally, Terry, on the light-hearted note, you were renowned and known for your many different hairstyles. From 80s glam rock to the what? Where did the inspiration for all these hairstyles come from, Derek? No, to be fair, I'd be still at it when they start growing. It's going to be yeah, Martin Jersey, here in the house. Martin Jersey, yeah, come on over here, Martin. I also see Alan Coyle. Come on up, Alan Coyle. I want you for a minute as well. Come on, Stu. The other store ones here. Gareth O'Malley, warm up as well there now. You're all Martin Jersey, a word with yourself, first of all, and talk to us about 2005. You also had that great distinction now. I'm sorry to make you feel old, but 3 finals in 3 decades. It's some achievement.
Yeah, but that's the one we got 6 time.
Talk to us about your journey coming back, of course, from the UK, joining Kilcolman. Talk to us about that, Ewan.
Yeah, so I came back when I was about 14, 15, and played at the school, everything, and IT chairman of the one that came into the house. Kilcolman was only ever in my mind to play with friends, family, and everything. And here for 2016, John was the manager. Got to the county final and all that. Funny story about the Neil game. I was in town getting my hair cut. Got the phone call from John, where are you? Me and getting hair cut. You're not coming to the game? No, no one told me. I said, ring me. So I had to get David Garrett to bring up to Castle Bar, so I left to change rooms. This is about 10 minutes before going. Next thing, had a jersey, your shot. Didn't know anyone in the change room. Next thing, ended up going to win a point and went from there.
Where's the city?
I'm gone from Kyle there. He's on the 16th. So it's like him playing the team now. So it's mad, like they put the shades roof since.
We're 16 years of age, an incredible achievement. And just on an overview of those 3 county titles, it's fantastic to see them come to the club.
Just shows the work that goes in. So another age, understand commitment from everyone. So
fantastic. Martin, thank you very much. Give a huge round of applause. Martin Downey. I heard about Martin's debut at 16 years of age. Just like David Coyle, this young man here beside me was 14 years of age when he made his debut for Kilcolman. Can you confirm that, Alan?
I'm 14 or 15. I can't remember the game last week.
What was the actual age that back into that? What was the proper correct? It wasn't any age.
No, there's no age. 14 or 15.
If you're strong enough and good enough, you're playing.
Right. Just was 15.
What was it like those early years when you first started playing for the Common Islands?
I don't know, good friends. We had a long way of thing. John and David was saying we just tried to get the team together just to keep it going. So we just kind of helped them out. It was a bit mad. I remember Micheál Morgan actually. It was my first game out for you, and I was only 14 or 15, and he was so forward, and he was like one of the Egyptian mummies. I think I really was doing a big injection. He said, I look after you. If anyone I was sent you a watch. That's in the ball. So next ball came in, I wanted to turn. I just went through a goal, and where was my man? He just looked in the corner, and there he was lying outside. And Micheál just stood there.
The Egyptian mummy. You must have more great memories of the lads when I was there 5 times. First of all, your own nickname, Soups. Where'd that come from?
I don't know, I think it was just one of my brothers who was called Soup, and I was Soup Junior. I think the boys, because I've been doing this, they were kind of like Soups.
You're involved with those still your past management teams.
I was lazy, so kind of there in the background. Yeah.
You're enjoying it.
Yeah, not too bad.
Good man. He's right the ball. Come on, Gareth. So next up, come on, Gareth O'Malley, also on the Jerry McAndrew. Come on, Jerry. This man back from New Zealand. Give a huge round of applause.
Do the hat catcher.
Jared, how are you? Okay. First of all, you have to come back from New Zealand. I know you're probably planning to come back anyways, but as Alan's mentioned there, testament to the team, testament to the guys involved, the players involved, that, only, I think, 2 or 3 missing here tonight, that everyone wants to be here for this. Because 20 years, it was important to highlight it and to remember it.
Yeah, it is, yeah. I was going to come back at Christmas, but then Justin Roddy, I think, messaged me and said, come back now instead. But yeah, I wouldn't have missed the parade. They're good players, but like a lot of the people mentioned tonight as well, great group of friends as well. I wouldn't have missed the parade.
Where did it start for you? How did you get involved in football?
I think that's been brought up about 20 times tonight already. Patty probably covered it best. Kieran Moore coming over to our houses, picking us up. This fellow, big black walk of hair around the big tash. Like bonus for Kieran Moore. Like I said, we covered about 20 times tonight already. The amount of work that man put in, unreal.
Yeah, absolutely. Mr. Glass.
Yes.
Is that due to those injuries?
Not super villain, superhero. I had loads of injuries, but I think Pat Jordan, I was talking to him today, he was like, I think those bands that you wore back in 2005 for my ankles. I was like, yeah.
Someone said down here as well, just like Alan mentioned there about Michael Moore and the Egyptian mummy, you used to wear similar knee bandages yourself.
Absolutely, I had the whole shebang. Model of Michael wherever he is tonight.
How do you think back to the crack and the memories and the moments? What stands out for you as one of the funniest moments with that group?
Oh my goodness.
Two nice mentions.
That's Trevor Woody.
He's coming up as well, don't worry.
Jesus. What is going on? I gotta be careful when I say it now. Now these guys are married.
Yeah, maybe it's okay.
What's the mic in his ear?
When you think that, now of course, over in New Zealand, your fondest memories must be thinking back to those times playing in the black and white.
Absolutely, yeah. It's hard, because I've been over there nearly 18 years now. I left fairly young when I left as well. I always think back, like stayed, but I always watch the games online, watching the teams in 2013 and last year as well. Always 100% behind them. And again, they mentioned 100 times tonight already. The amount of work put in by the people here, they're unreal, just the work they put in. And yeah, it might be quite a little late over there, but I'm big comment there.
Brilliant. Give me a huge round of applause. Nothing worse. Jeremy Conley. Now, next up, Gareth O'Reilly. Gareth, first of all, I suppose, talk to us about, football first. We mentioned earlier, as heard, soccer was your first love. You were playing top league soccer in Mayo. You were playing with Ernest United. You were a great man for a goal. Where did the GAA side, and how did you get involved first into football and into the club here in Kilkenny?
I played minor, country minor. Give it up for a few years. And I was working with McAndrew team lead, and he asked me one day to play, and got involved after that.
When you think back, some wonderful moments there playing, even prior to 2005, some great memories, I'm sure.
I can't remember a lot, only what I've seen on the videos there.
Pat Healy mentioned it, of course, of the Comortas, the commitment and the level of dedication for you to drive down and to make that journey down. Where does that come from? Can you recall that moment that they rang you?
We had a wedding. So, I had permission from the wife, which I did. Yeah, and I took off that evening. Just down there that night.
And the game itself and the weekend, what do you remember on that?
Yeah, it was great. Very intense. I was only down for the second game, but really enjoyed the weekend, yeah.
And always a great man to get a goal. Did that come from your soccer instinct? You particularly also memories about it. You always, on hand, you're a great man to get a goal.
Yeah, probably it stood to me.
Yeah.
It stood to me, yeah.
It certainly did. And you surely have some great story. I know you mentioned you might have touched on it.
No.
No stories. No stories. We keep it clean. Thanks very much, guys. Give me a huge round of applause. Now, stories. Turn around. Come on, Trevor. Come on. Is John Walker here as well? Is John in the house? Is John still here? And we Pat Darcy as well. Well, 3 words. Yeah. Tony D as well, another man. Pat Harlan. Come on, 3 words here, Jeanette. Pat, take a point there. Quickly, come back. Pat, give me a huge round of applause first of all. Pat Darcy! Pat, you were...
Just give Tony a chance to get up here and slow him down.
Pat, you were in America and came back. What year did you come back?
I came back in January. Quite quickly started training down in the road, running the banks, thinking, why am I back here? In the winter. It's lucky enough to be involved in the team.
And what was it like, coming back from America, meeting up with the guys, getting back into the level of fitness and all that? What was that like?
One of the younger guys on the team at the time. As a group of lads here, I wouldn't have known. And all I can say, by the end of the season, the camaraderie we had, everybody knew each other. We all meet up. It was a real. It wasn't just a team; it was a community. And look, we're all testament to us all. We're all real good friends still after all this time. It was a great time.
I have a good stat here on you as well, Pat. You retired the 1996 All-Ireland final goal scorer PJ Loftus in the semi-final against North Carolina. Can you talk us through that? Poor PJ hasn't the same sense.
I just remember going up for a ball, and when we came down, he was on the ground there.
Great moments, and of course, winning the county title that year as well. Long as any memory.
I remember I started off playing quite young. The pitch, Pat Healy's pitch up in the Santa Clara, I think, was it? Yeah. And if you kick the ball dead straight, it's going to point the head in the middle of the pitch was higher than the goal. And I hated to go down for a very low ball because when you came up, you were covered in sheep shit. There was still probably a few sheep in the corner.
Fantastic. Give me a huge round of applause. That Jonathan! Down 20 seconds this season. Give me a huge round of applause. 20 Dean! Tony, you got a few nicknames. Yellow Card, Dean, and you're also known as the Hatchet Man, I believe.
I'm referees for the months of it.
But there was a perception out there, I'm sure people will agree as well, that, you know, some people thought 20 Dean's a dirty player, but you were actually a Hatchet Man.
It's what people, you know, they put these things out here like that. You know, support, it's not me, okay?
Can you tell us, Tony, about, I suppose, the comparisons of maybe how it was in the 90s to how it was in 2000s as to play in both those decades?
The 90s were rough, you know. John going back in, Kieran, the whole lot, like, we were struggling big time. I suppose the high point then, we got the clubhouse on the pitch in 2000, which was a big point, and from that on, I think we've gone on strike for strike, like, you know, so there you go.
Absolutely. And a final one here, a nice one here on you, Tony, as well. I believe that you played a game for Cornboy United, then going on the beer, and rolling out of bed to try and get 15 to play a Gaelic football match the next day. Does that ring a bell?
Small speculation.
We're like dogs from fake news. Give me your round of applause. Tony B. Awesome. Next up, we have John Walker. Then, of course, as a club, a rural club wouldn't have got, you know, many transfers over the years, but John, you transferred, came down from Dublin. What year did you come down from, John?
2003.
2003. And which club remind us again?
Thomas Davis.
Thomas Davis. What was that like? I suppose, you know, playing in Dublin, playing football in Dublin, you're coming down to Kilcommon. What was that like?
Different altogether, really. There was a lot of players that you come down here you wouldn't really know. But the draft and the lads was great. They welcomed me, so it was great. I would have known that a lot of the lads who coming down on my summer holidays, a lot of them my lads, the older lads like Tony and Pat and Brendan McGrath, the four of us were probably the oldest on the 2005 team. But yeah, it was great. It was great to get to play with the lads.
Of course, you know, just to be with the club only a couple of years and then to win a county title, you must have thought this was unbelievable stuff. This is brilliant.
Yeah, it was brilliant. Yeah, I remember my first game actually in 2003. It was the North Mayo against Ballycastle actually. We lost that game and I didn't know the connection. It was a local derby and I'll never forget between the two, as you mentioned earlier on. Paddy Morgan and Michael Morgan coming in after the game and giving all the lads a blind and Jesus.
You wouldn't get that up in there at all.
No. That was the first. In 2005, the team that was there, I remember we all met and he's actually a good friend of mine now, Jarlath Cunningham. Jarlath's been knowing Jarlath over the last number of years. I got to know Jarlath in 2005 and kept in touch with Jarlath all the time, and especially since I came with the communications officer. Jarlath does a few things for me on the side. But yeah, when Jarlath came involved there with the team, I taught Jarlath the training, Jarlath doing everything, full hours training. You just didn't know, you didn't feel like you'd done a lot of training, but you didn't feel like you were training, you know. So Jarlath got the ball going with all the lads, and it was great, you know, because in 2004 we lost the county semi-final to Ahamore. I remember breaking into the team really that time. Terence was out injured, actually hamstring. So I got Terence space, you know. I remember playing Ahamore. It was a good Ahamore team. We lost the county semi-final. I forget what many points we lost it by, but it was
We were lucky that year, and we had I think that's 5 county players on the team that year. So the team was there to come. It was coming. So 2005, you know, it was fantastic.
John, thank you very much. I won't ask you who makes me your manager. So John Walker. I've called him Trevor Willie a few times. One Trevor. I also won James McAndrew. One James, you're here to my right. And anyone else here? Is Trevor not going to come to me? He might come in. James, the man known as J-Lo. Tell us, quick there first of all, where did J-Lo come from, James?
I suppose we've listened to a lot of stories tonight. But one thing that I suppose that we haven't hit on is 2002. We had a trip for Brendan Maloney out to The Hague. We had a tournament. We were representing Europe at the time. That was great. We got to the final of that as well, and we lost narrowly in the end. But I suppose during the course of that weekend, we had a fantastic time. And some of us had too much of a good time. And we talk about all the bonding that has taken place over the last in 2005. But to me, it kind of really starts at that point. It's something crack over the course of the weekend. And I suppose we were out warming up for one of the games, and you know, I caught the eye of a player, and he pops up to me a couple of minutes later and says, "Geez, J-Lo, what's your name now?" And I said, "What?" He said, "There's a fine big behind." And it's proven since Trevor is not very fine. It was Trevor in 2002. Jennifer Lopez. She had a smash hit, Jenny from the Block, and our daughter back then was a stuck.
And so many goals. And the commitment that you put in that year, and indeed the commitment you put in all the years, Jay, but you were commuting over and back to Wales for the second half of the season, is that right?
Yeah. I suppose when I look at my kind of season that year, I kind of break it into 2 parts. The first part, it was hugely successful, I suppose. We got to a county final, we won it. I was starting a course for teaching at the time over there. And a couple of days later, we were celebrating and so on. Okay, and then I suppose the second part of the year, I was commuting. I suppose the commute was expensive, and I have to, huge thanks to Martin Coyle at the time for his help over the course of those months, bringing me to and from games. So the games would be in Mayo. I'd have to travel to Rossblair in Wexford, then over to Fishguard or Holyhead, another couple of hours, and then get a bus or a car. John Maloney's relation at one time brought me to college another couple of hours. So it was 2 days really to get home and to play a game. And I suppose with that, I would have felt myself that my form kind of dipped post winning the county title. And when you look back, I often look back at the Connacht final, and I suppose I hadn't the training really done. And you know, to me, it would have had an impact on that day as well.
But the level of commitment, I mean, to do all of that work. And I go back to another example as well. You left best man duties to go and play against Lamberthon in the playoff.
Yeah, I was best man at the time for my uncle, and the same man had no interest in football, so when I went to him, he was like, "What are you talking about? You know, you're my best man, and you need to be there." But anyway, after much negotiations, I think the management got involved, Kieran and John had a chat with him as well, and eventually got the nod, and we won the game, and I just about got back to the speeches as well.
Finally, your funniest moment, you think back, lots of great stories.
I suppose, like as you mentioned already, Trevor, funny enough,
has been kind of the glue, the kind of humorous glue that kind of kept that group together. He would have been involved in everything that was, that was comic, that if the team wasn't going well and we needed a bit of a lift, Trevor was always there, he was always smiling, he always gave us all that lift we needed. He was a great character, and he really, genuinely had an unbelievable impact on the team throughout the year, giving us the momentum we needed. And look, he gave my nickname, so I'm going to give him a bit of praise as well.
And I want to finish actually with a quote here about Trevor as well. In fact, you won't come up, I'm going to read it out anyways.
So Trevor didn't know how to do a drill at training, and Kieran said, if you were here last week, you would know what to do. Trevor says, I was here all right, but I was sheamed.
I think you remember that, James.
That typifies Trevor. That's mild, to be honest. That's mild.
Thank you. James McAndrew, give a huge round of applause. Lovely. Now, we're going to move on to the next thing. I'm conscious of the fact we have music starting next short while as well. We're going to move on and get someone else to start our raffle as well. So we get our raffle underway now. After that, we're going to have our auction of the jersey as well. And then, of course, we have music with Mary Kay Cohen as well. So we'll start off with the raffle and the assistance as well.